in terms of just from a just your natural perspective. Did you happen to follow any of the conversations happening about Deion Sanders and Deion Sanders being at an HBCU and then he left the HBCU to go to the University of Colorado? Did you catch any of that?
No, I don't. I to be honest with you, I don't know who you're telling me about this. When I gave up wrestling, karate, and judo, I didn't like any other sport. If it's not a butt kicking sport, I don't like basketball, tennis, golf ball, baseball, any bowling balls, any kind of thing that's playing with your balls. I don't have very much interest in.
Okay, so no playing with your balls.
Well, no, I don't play with the balls stuff. So anybody I catch making $100 million playing with the balls, I say, hey, I'm out of that.
Let me just brief you on it real quick, and I'd like to get your thoughts on it because it was a heavy debate. And basically, so here's what was going on. So Deion Sanders was an all-star in the NFL. He was really one of the best players ever, and he went to an HBCU. So that surprised everybody. Jackson State offered him a job to be the head coach for the football team, and nobody else had offered him a head coaching job, but Jackson State did. So Deion went there and he just electrified the city. They were making a lot more money. They were filling up stadiums. For 2 years, his team was one of, if not the best team in the conference. And he was doing extremely well. So everyone was excited about how this was bringing attention to HBCUs. A lot of the best players had started to attend HBCUs, where a lot of them used to go to the white schools, and the white schools would make money from them. Now you had Jackson State recruiting some of the best out there. Well, then the University of Colorado came along and they offered Deion $5 million a year. And Deion left Jackson State and to take the job at Colorado. So some people felt it was the best move to make because it was more money, more visibility for Deion, things like that. But then there are some people who felt that it was disappointing because they'd hoped that he would stick it out with HBCUs and help develop HBCUs as an attracting point for the top Black athletes, coaches, et cetera. I'd like to get your thoughts on that because I was kind of mixed too. On one hand, there was a lot of money there for this job, but on the other hand, I saw him really building a very powerful legacy that was going to be to the economic benefit of not just him, but also to the university, to the city of Jackson, and to HBCUs as a whole. Did you have any thoughts on that?
Well, in the context and under the context of powernomics, what one should ask oneself is, how did Black folk benefit from that? How did they benefit from leaving a Black school, going to a white school, or getting more money, or getting more visibility? What did that, at the bottom line, if I were to pour everything through a net and dry it out, what do you get? What's left over? What have Black folk got to show for that whole charade of going from being on a Black team to switching to a white teams? So when you graduate, you can get more money and you can get a little more visibility. I don't understand, because I can't see integration is a degraded situation for Black folk. Why would you get your jollies or your kicks off of being off a white school besides just money? See, if you're fighting for your lives, if you knew your race right now, which they should know, your race holds a world's record, WORLD world record for the longest enslaved people on earth. Why would you get your kicks off of going with a white school just to get more money and more publicity? Why aren't you concentrating on the fact that after 465 years, you own and control absolutely nothing? You own, and you're up now to be eliminated and exterminated from this earth. What did you get out of it? Why would you side with somebody who's in opposition to you? You know they're using you, and you didn't see the Jews running out of the box up there, broadcast box, saying we're gonna put our Jewish athletes in there so they can get more money. They didn't want that kind of money. They wanted to be able to own and control the teams. Where are all the Black teams that Black folk got from all that? Where's all the money they got from it? If they did that starting in the 1940s, and now here we are almost getting close to 100 years, what have they got to show after 40 years of being a show for white folk? Tell me that. I want to understand. I'm at a loss. I don't know. What did you get for being showing when you don't have any community, you don't have any businesses, you don't have any wealth, you don't have any power, you don't have any unity, you don't have any culture. Your culture has been raped and robbed and stolen, given to everybody. Now you're an artifact for culture for all these groups coming to America. I mean, I'm looking for something. Don't give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Give me just one. Give me one thing that Blacks got out of that. And you can start with, as an example, Jackie Robinson. I never understood the importance of all Blacks hollering, we got Jackie Robinson. We got now that the Depression is over and it's 1930s, and Black folk are not going to go in and rebuild their little neighborhoods, and they don't have any businesses. They had 20 times more businesses in 1920 per 100,000 Blacks than they got today. They had 20 times more. And I said, what are you going to show for it now? Well, they said, well, in 1938 and 39, what we'll do is that we don't want to own businesses anymore like we were trying to do in 1920s. We came out of slavery. Let's just invite white folks to come in and help us. And since Jews are now pouring into the country from overseas, right before World War I, and we'll cut a deal with them, let them come into our community, and we'll help give them businesses. We'll give them authorization to put up businesses in every Black neighborhood in America. And we'll buy from them and patronize them. And we don't need any businesses. And all they got to do is once in a while, is whenever something happens to us in a race matter, just side with us as a white person and try to bring some comfort to whites and to us for having been exploited, misused, and murdered. We'll take that. We'll trade off and give them a chance to take some sports figures and line them with that'll make some sense. And so 10 years later, here comes the Brooklyn Dodgers saying, Jackie Robinson, we're gonna make you the first Black to go with a white team. You go to a white team and we'll integrate you. Even though everybody is gonna call you a Negro and Black and skunk, kinky head, all kind of names, Black cats on the field when you're trying to play. And now they said, well, that was a great move. We now got a Black boy on a white team. And so what we must do now is, since that we are now integrated, we got one Black boy playing on all these white teams. Let's integrate and let's destroy all of our teams. We had 2 damn Black major baseball teams, 2. Each one of those teams had about 30, 40 some Blacks on it. We had our own baseball fields. We had our own coaches. We had our own managers. We had our own equipment. We had our own buses. We drew crowds every time we had a game where Blacks were playing against Blacks. And that was the biggest thing in the country. So now they said, well, y'all got to get rid of those Black baseball teams and come and sit in the stands and give us your money so we'll let you look at Jackie Robinson. So I'm trying to figure out, and now and at that time, Blacks made up about 65 or 70% of all the baseball players became Black. About 72% of all the boxers became Black. About 64% of all the football players became Blacks. And Blacks haven't got a damn thing out of all that stuff. All they do out there is being a showboat, just like they used to be doing slavery, tap dancing and doing the woo. We'll tap dance. This, my name is Skin, his name is Bones, so we are Skin and Bones. I said, oh, mercy. So I answered your question about going all the way around John's Bond. Now, and you tell me if I answered it, or if I missed it, I'll try again.
Well, you answered it very clearly, and the reason I wanted to ask you about it is because there were some people who saw it in the way, maybe the way I would have seen it when I was a kid before I actually was introduced to Powernomics concepts, is they saw it as he's making more money, he gets to play at a higher level. but you asked that really important question in the beginning where you said, what does the Black community get from that move? You know, that's a win for him for sure, but it's a loss for the whole community at large. And also what's interesting too is, in addition to talking about the money, there are a lot of people who started to spread what really was just slanderous lies about the school, where they were saying that the reason he left was because Jackson State took his money. They stole money from him, and that was proven to be false. Everybody that went to investigate that found out that even Deion never said that. Deion used that as an example. He said, well, what if you at a school and they do this, this, and this? And everybody thought he was talking about Jackson, but he wasn't. But my point on that is to say that it reminds me of when somebody goes to a Black-owned business and something goes wrong, and they say, see, that's why you can't do business with these Negroes, because look at what they did, you know. And instead of going to another Black business, people say, well, this is why I'm going to basically abandon all the Black businesses, you know. Because so my thought is that if he had an issue with that one HBCU, but he still wanted to be in that space, maybe there's another Black-owned university he could be a part of, or something like that. And I think that was the part of the conversation. I saw a lot of people though who agreed with you, and I wanted to hear from you on that. So I'd like to get just, I guess, more your thoughts in terms of if you live in a world where
Boyce, let me respond to that before you go to another one, because that example you just made, that because a Black was unhappy with a Black restaurant, he said, I'm not going to go to any more Black restaurants. I'm going to go to white restaurants now. Now you think about that, and think about in this country where Black folk only, at that time, was about 10% of the population. 10% of the population, other was 90% white. Where did those 90% of the population of this country, where did they go every time they were pissed off and they were unhappy with a white person? Did they rush over to the Black restaurants and the Black stores, the Black businesses, saying, I'm never going to another white restaurant because the white people there, even though they're white and I'm white, I didn't like their product. And I was unhappy going there. So I'm gonna spend all my time and all my money with Black folk from this point forward. Have you ever heard that or seen anything like that? Then why would Black folk come up with that as a stupid ass excuse about why they don't go to Black and buy Black? Because they were unhappy with Blacks about something. So yeah, I'm going to white from now on. You ain't never seen a white person rushed over to buy anything from a Black person. As a matter of fact, every time a Black person gets paid on a Saturday, the first thing he does is try to enter the danger zone, like that movie, The Danger Zone. What they do right there is that, you know what the danger zone is? The danger zone is that little space right between when a Black person gets a paycheck and he gets out the front door and heads for a white store. You get caught between that and you get your ass run straight over, because they can't wait to go spend the money. They don't put one penny into the Black community. Black, basically on an annual basis, they put two cents into the Black community. And then white folks, now whites are mad every day. They're mad someplace in this country about what some white person didn't do. But I've never seen a line or a march. I've never seen them marching down the main street saying, we're marching to a Black store now because white folk did something to us. They cheated us. They mistreated us. One white guy killed another white man. We ain't going to his store anymore. That never happens. And I'm still waiting for somebody to explain that to me. Why is it that you're always going to hold Black folk accountable for something where whites don't hold their people accountable? I hope I made my point.
Yeah. You made your point really well, and I think it's and so last question I want to ask you on that then is, it always seems like the white man's ice is a little bit colder when it comes to the money. I was thinking about, for example, when O.W. Gurley started Black Wall Street. He walked away from a lot of good jobs. He had good job opportunities, but he instead chose to go out west and buy some land and build some Black businesses. But now it seems that a lot of times whenever Black folks start to build something, we start making those sacrifices to get things to a certain level. A white man comes along, offers a bunch of money. Next thing you know, he owns it, he controls it, or he'll cherry pick the best talent, like he did with the Negro leagues. He'll and leave the rest behind. Everybody else who's benefiting from those businesses, from the Negro leagues, forget them. But I want Jackie Robinson, or I want the best players, and that's it. How do you explain to somebody, if somebody just says, well, look, of course Deion took that job. He was only making less than $500,000 a year at Jackson State. He makes $5 million a year by working for the University of Colorado. How do you even make that argument to say, passing up the money is okay? Because a lot of us are trained to believe whoever offers you the most money, even if it's Satan himself, you go for the money. What is your thought on that?
Okay, my thought is a very simple. Why? Why would you go for the money that you know is rewarding whites? Why would you reward whites when whites right now get 98 cents out of every dollar? $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8. They're going to a black person's hand. Why would you turn around and give 98 cents out of every one of those dollars, put it into whites' hands, and you try to keep 2 cents? Dr. Watkins, it is humanly impossible for anybody who's got more than a third grade education to be puzzled over that. Why would you want to reward them for what they've done for you for 465 years? Why would you want to go back into their store and give your money to them when you know he doesn't give a damn about you? When you should say, if I can make my money, hold my money, it doesn't make any difference about what white folks did years ago. What makes sense is what we'll be able to do it for ourselves in the future. Now, so when you get a dollar, you should be able to say, well, every night, because white folks own and control, and then white folk, when I say white folks, that also includes Japanese, Asians, Africans, Arabs, and anybody else other than black folk. Those are white folk by the Constitution. The United States Constitution basically is saying anybody who can look white, pass for white, are entitled to special benefits. And on top of that, you're going to get special benefits for just passing for whites. But here's what else we're going to do for you, and against the blacks now. If you belong to a religion that is not particularly identified with black folk, we'll give you a point for that, which means now you got a point over black folk because you're white. Now we'll give you another point for identifying a religion. Since we know that 90-some% of all the blacks in America are going to be Baptists. We know they're going to be Baptists. So we know that anything you might have a little white redneck group that might have like in one of the Southern Baptist whites, but that's a small number. All of them going to join another religion. So they belong to a Catholic, Lutheran, Protestant, Mormon, Jewish, anything, they get a point. So now they got 2 points over the black folks. And they say, now, you are from what country? So you're what? You're an immigrant? Oh, Lord, now you get 3 points if you're an immigrant, because you can see those Negroes, what we call blacks or Schwarzeneggers, they can't get a point because they are not immigrants. They are not immigrants, so they lose there too. Now, we do have a few blacks coming into the country from the Caribbean and other places around the world, but we're not going to give them we're going to give them a half a point. If they can come to us and show us they came from the Caribbean or from someplace in Europe, we'll say, well, you're black, but you're not black as the blacks in this country. So therefore, all you got to do is show up downtown one day wearing a Swahili gown or diaper on your head or speaking some language other than non-standard Negro dialect, we'll give you another point. So now you got 3 points over blacks. They said, so now we give you a point for being white. We give you a point for having a different religion. We give you another point for speaking a different language. We'll give you another point for having culture. Now you're from where? Mexico? Oh, hell, you can come in this country. You can start businesses and you can have your own restaurants. And as a matter of fact, we're gonna come to your restaurants And since you speak a different language, oh Lord, we'll give you another point. Now you got 4 points over these jitterbugs. Now you got 4 points into the advantage over black folk. And there's no way they can four will run over one at least 4 times, another left over. Now, what else can I give you a point for? You're what? Say it again. A minority. Oh Lord, you said you were a minority. Damn. You just get another point now. That means you're something in that crowd where it can be near black folk, but not yet be one. So multicultural diversity. Oh Lord, we're gonna give you now. So now you got 5 points over black folk. Now these points are political and economic, because and that's how blacks get it. So the bottom line is that anybody coming to this country who is classified as an immigrant, he gets automatically 5 to 6 points over black folk, or what I call native black Americans. Native black Americans were all those blacks who've been here ever since slavery, that were born in this country as slavery. 99% of all the black people in America has been here ever since slavery. Black folk are the oldest people in this country. They're the most unique people in this country. They are special people in this country. They're the only people, and that's, I'm putting up one finger, they're the only people in this country that have fought for this country and whose mother country has never been against the United States. Every immigrant who brings his butt into this country as a mother country who's fought America, and black folk went out there and fought them to get them off of America, off of the white population. No other group. You can't find no group, Irish, German, French, anybody you want, Russian, Polish, anything. Everybody, every ethnic group in this country has fought against this country except black folk. And black folk are the only one, the oldest in this group, and yet they're still on the bottom where they were when they came in this country because of some of the things I'm reciting to you right now. Because they don't play the game to win what they should be trying to win, which is group togetherness, and have a code of conduct that says nothing comes, no money, no nothing comes before our people and their well-being. And that means until we move as a group, they enslaved us as a group. You're never gonna do better as an individual unless you do it together with the rest of your people. All the money that Jackie Robinson made, didn't give a damn, whites didn't give a damn about that. What do they care because Jackie Robinson got a big ass salary and played, and then that's Jackie Robinson. What did that happen? As soon as he was gone, he was right still in racism, Jim Crow segregation. When Jesse Owens outran everybody in Germany in the 1930s for the Olympic, guess what? Jesse Owens got all kind of praise from white folk. But guess what? And got money. But what happened? In the 1930s, they were lynching almost 2 black men per day in the United States in the 1930s. Same thing into the 1940s. And I can go on and on and on. In every sport, in entertainment, we had all these beautiful singers, black folks singing jazz. Guess what? White folks didn't give a damn. They took the music from them. All the music in this country came out of the experience of black people. Black people have a genius and talent for creating music, just like they had a genius and talent for being good in sports. But guess what? All of it went to whites. All of it went to whites. And now whites own it and control it and have vertically integrated it. Whites vertically integrated. They own everything from the stadium all the way up to the public relations and to the movie industry. Blacks own absolutely nothing. And I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired of telling black folk the same thing. You gotta learn to suffer for a little bit for yourselves. That's why during World War II, we blew up Nagasaki and Hiroshima with atomic bombs. And the Japanese went to war with us because they didn't have enough natural resources. And that's what they were after. They wanted to get some more natural resources, and they were expanding into the Pacific areas to get some resources. Everything from wood the rubber and everything. And guess what? By the end, they had nothing after they were bombed by 2 atomic bombs. And that was in 1945. And in 10 years, they started a thing called a Kairusu, which says we will buy only from our people and nobody else. We'll buy everything we need from our own people, Dr. Watkins, nobody else. If you try to sell something into this country, we'll buy it only if it comes out of a hand of a Japanese person. And so, and we kept insisting, and I was over at the Kobe for representing the president of the United States, and I was government presidents, and I was the only Black over there with them. And it was the first thing they say is that we asked them, why don't you buy some American products? Japanese says, our laws say we can only buy from you all if it comes out of a hand of a Japanese person. You know what those suckers did? They then came over to the United States and started buying up all of our orange groves in California. And so that when we asked them about buying oranges, they own the orange plantations and orchards all over California at that point. That's where they were getting them from. We started talking about, why don't you buy some American beef? And they said, well, so what they did, they went and bought up a lot of our ranches all throughout the West and put their name on it, and had Blacks, had some whites still fronting, but it was Japanese owned. And now they got the Chinese buying up all of our pork, And so we'll be totally dependent on Asians for food, because they're buying up all of our industries. And what we got coming next, as I've told you before, is, and everything was coming, at this point, only thing left has got to come. You're gonna have water shortages, then you're gonna have food shortages, and then you have a civil war. And the civil war will go between the strong and the weak. The weakest people in this country will be Black folk. Those are Asians, Arabs, everybody else is identified as being white. Asians are nothing but whites. Not Asian, but Asians, but Hispanics are not but whites speaking Spanish. And now they getting they wiped out all your jobs. They taken all your programs that came in from under the Great Society for Black folk, like Upward of Bounds, and all those programs that came during the 1950s, during the Civil War, Civil Rights Movement. All those programs have gone to Asians. They got all the jobs. 42% of all the damn jobs under Obama went to Hispanics. And now you got all these people out here now coming into the country. They're bringing all kind of diseases. And the people that have no hospitals, only got 2 hospitals in the entire United States for 47 million Black folk. And they got one in Howard University, a little small one, and they got one in Harlem. You don't even have hospitals. You don't have any doctor's office. All your doctors have been wiped out by foreigners, by the first law passed in 1890 to hire and credential people coming in as immigrants. Black folk don't own a damn thing. Everything they had, they lost. And all those playing with basketball, soon they're gonna be replaced. Just like all those who were singing and dancing during the night, during segregation, they are now disappeared. You can't find all those singers. That you know who they were, the Spanish, all these different groups, Blue Willie John, and all those different groups, Gladys Knight and the Pips. You're gone. You're set up to be exterminated. I'm sorry for having preaching to you, and this is not even Sunday.
Well, no, let Dr. Anderson know that you appreciate the preaching. I appreciate it, and I appreciate it. And I'll tell you, it's I thought it was important to get your perspective on these things, because first we started off talking about what was going on with HBCUs and Deion Sanders, and then you started talking about something else that I was thinking about in terms of competitiveness and readiness of Black children when they come out of school. And so I'm trying to decide which direction I want to go into, because both of those issues I'd like to address. I know we're going to talk about your book and stuff like that, but I really want to keep going down that rabbit hole with you. One of the things that I think was missing in the whole conversation about Deion Sanders, and the whole Black community is really talking about it. Everybody had an opinion, and everybody's opinion deserves to be respected. I believe that. But one of the things that I think that we are missing, if we are claiming to really be trying to accumulate Black power, and everybody give me a yes in the chat if you want Black people to be more powerful. Give me a yes if Black power is a goal for you personally, or you believe this should be a goal for the community. Everybody give me a yes so we can make sure we're on the same page. Because if you want to stay weak, then you just keep doing what you're doing. But if you want to be powerful, you got to start thinking like a powerful person. And I believe that part of the reason that we are not powerful is because we don't even know how to play the game of power. You know, that's why we read this book, Powernomics. And by the way, Dr. Anderson's website is powernomics.com. So everybody should read this book. And so you know, the thing about power is that there is a line of thinking that comes with being powerful. There is a type of logic. There is a way you play the game if you want power. So what I want people to hear, and I'm going to say this for you, Dr. Anderson, then I'd like to get your perspective on this, is that when you're playing the game of power, a lot of that connects to ownership and control. And ownership and control means, you know, if you get in there late to the party, it's hard for you to control something that's already owned by somebody else. You know, so for example, if I meet a 12-year-old child and say, I'm going to be the babysitter for that child, and but I'm going to work my way up to one day become the parent of that child, that's not possible. I'll never be the parent of that child because I met the child when the child was 12. You know, and you know, but you know, so a lot of times I think about that when I think about our businesses. You know, the way we graduate from college, and they say, well, your goal is to go and be a babysitter for a white man's business. Your job is to go out and get a job working for white folks, let them pay you a good salary, and then you work your way up to having power in that institution. Well, you're not really going to do that because that's already claimed. That's already somebody else's baby. Do you follow what I mean? Does that make sense? Everybody, give me a yes if you follow my analogy, right? In order for you to really be a parent, you gotta make a baby and raise that baby, you know, like yourself. Then you're really the parent. But if you spend all your time babysitting other people's kids, then you never have the time to be a parent. And so what I point to is you have a lot of Black folks that will talk about, they'll say things like, there's not enough Black coaches in the NFL. There's not enough Black owners in the NFL. Well, why would they have any incentive to bring in all these Black owners? That's their league. They own that league. They raise that baby up. That's their institution. That's not yours. You know, the Hallis family bought the Chicago Bears for about, I think, $50 100 years ago. Not that long ago, just 100 years ago, the Hallis family bought the Chicago Bears, this little raggedy franchise that nobody knew about, nobody cared about, for $50. Now the Chicago Bears are worth $5 billion. So you coming in 100 years late to the party, talking about, I want to be an owner of the Chicago Bears. Well, if I'm the Hallis family, I'm going to say, hell no. We raised this baby with generational powernomics thinking. You can't come in here and become an owner because you weren't here when the baby was born. So my question for Black people would be this, and I'd like to get your thoughts on this, Dr. Anderson. Where are you making your own babies, and where are you making the sacrifices to raise institutions up that are going to be yours, that you own and control? Where's the Black sports league where we're investing now so that in 100 years these teams will be worth billions of dollars? Or are we just chasing behind the white man trying to get connected to whatever he's already been building, but that already belongs to somebody else? Can you give me some thoughts on that, Dr. Anderson?
Yes, I'll be most happy to give it to you. You made your remarks were very cogent and very clear and concise and highly intelligent. But let me say, it's an easy answer though, because you see that first of all, Black folk did not have to play the game the way they're playing it, because the people now, the numbers and the money and the wealth always follows the numbers. In politics, the wealth and the power always follows the numbers. The Jews are rich, not because of what one Jew has, it's because what all the Jews have together. That's what you have to keep in the back of your mind. That getting one Black something, like you might mention about Deion Sanders getting something, it didn't help Black folks one iota. if Oprah lost every penny she had right now, who would really, on the black side of the ledger, give a real damn? I mean, honestly, who would give a damn? They wouldn't give a damn. She lost every penny, and the news hit the day that she's now only worth about $600. Who cares? Because there was never any connection between Oprah and the black community and then lifting the black community. Now, so if you want to ask you a question about what would they do, it's very easy. Is that all you had to do from the get-go is understand, and I know you do already, so I know your question is more theoretical than anything else. I know that. So I'm not insulting you, hopefully. And but you see, the question is that all blacks had to do is resist social integration. Because you see, black folk already had their own baseball teams. Nobody could beat the black baseball teams. They couldn't beat them. We had one pitcher there, what's his name? I can't think of his name, but he was so good, they could never hit his ball. You remember what I'm talking about? You might not know him now.
You talking about Satchel Paige?
Satchel Paige. And we had all the best catchers and ball hitters. They didn't want to play us. Same thing in football. They couldn't beat us in football. We used to play the white teams in the South in North Carolina every year. We would beat the hell out of them. And our black guys, I'm talking about guys, not football team players. This is the neighborhood. The neighborhood in Winston-Salem would turn out, and we would go over to Reynolds High School on that great big playground. We played in the white community, and everybody was on their side. They might have 50 whites over there on their side. We'll have 40 or 50 on ours. And it was all called tear butt and run. And so, and our guys, we just loved that. We couldn't wait because we could beat them running. We played rougher and harder. And so, and we didn't have a need for all the damn uniforms and the gear for protection. They loved that. And they talk about how many times I took that sucker all the way down in the woods when I hit him. He went 4 feet in the air. But they couldn't beat us in basketball because we dominated all the basketball. And as a matter of fact, what they did, they stripped our basketball players down and took the best of those and left the rest of them to go find other way of making a living. And guess what? There was a guy, I can't think of his name now, name skips me. He started what's called the Harlem Globetrotters because he was saying, I got enough leftover black basketball players here that are so damn good. These white boys can't beat them. Damn it.
Are you talking about Abe Saperstein?
Abe Saperstein.
Was he Jewish? That sounds like
Jewish,
a Jewish name.
Yeah, he was Jewish. And he said that I'll take the leftover, not the No. Now, Dr. Watson, I'm not talking about picking the best black basketball player. He says, I can take the leftover to do nothing, and I'll still whip every damn basketball player around the world. I'll travel around the world with these suckers, and I'll beat any damn team you come up with. And they did it. They would go from town to town, all through Europe and Far East, and say, we will still whip your asses. And so on my point being, whether it's a baseball, basketball, tennis, and even boxers, we dominated the boxing. And so, and that's why Abe Saperstein, that's his name.
Yeah, I thought I grabbed some images so everybody could see it. Right. Did anybody else grow up on the Harlem Globetrotters? Look at that. And you are right. I mean, that shows just how much talent we had. It don't make no sense that we're not the ones making the most money off basketball because, like you said, our leftover players are better than the primary players for other groups.
That's right. And all we had to do was play according to your own team. And all they had to do was for they wanted social integration. Here's what I said to them in those days. I said, I would love to follow Martin Luther King into social integration if you do it my way. I don't want you to integrate one black in the 12 members of a team, one black on a white football team, one black on a basketball team. No. I want you to integrate the whole team. I want to have black teams, basketball teams playing against white basketball teams. I want to have black football teams playing against white football teams. and then we'll find out who's good and who's bad. But don't come sticking one little black man and say, now, all you rest of the players, you black players, you go home and pick and play pinochle or blackjack, something on the back porch. No, don't throw one black against 15 or 20 damn whites and say, oh, yeah, y'all can't do but a little bit because our team are doubling up on you. They're going to try to hurt your man when he comes through the line. I said, no, integrate the whole damn team. That's what integration should be done. Integration is a way of segregating blacks. You segregate them. Anytime you want to beat somebody, like in the Marine Corps, when I was in the Korean War and the Gulf War, I was in both of those damn wars. And when you want to divide, when you want to conquer somebody, you divide them, Dr. Watkins. You divide them up. And that's what the integration did. Integration divided black folk. And say, well, we have a little bit of housing out here in the suburbs. We'll let 2 or 3 blacks move out here in the suburbs, but then we're gonna put a quota on it. That anytime more than 4 or 5 blacks move into your neighborhood, whites said that is called destructive for us. You're dividing us as white folk and weakening us. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna move. We're gonna uproot ourselves. When 3 or 4 blacks move into a white neighborhood, whites gonna put up every house they got in that neighborhood and put them up for sale. And so even if they have to sell and move the furniture out of the house at night while you're in there looking at TV, looking at the Lone Ranger on TV. And what they do, they move it out. If you're gonna bring in, move into our neighborhood and put some black kids, 5 or 10 blacks into a white school, we're gonna pull our kids out of that school and move to another neighborhood or community 10 or 20 or 30 miles away, where that's all whites. When whites move away from blacks, they don't move to black neighborhoods. They move into all white neighborhoods where they again are the majority. White folk under no circumstance want to be a minority. They say, because we have mistreated you all so badly for so long, we know well what happens to a damn minority. But here's the trick to it. Here's the trick, and you remember this if you don't remember anything else for this day's meeting, is that what black folk fail to understand, is that they start talking about we're following the Constitution. We want our constitutional rights. We want to do this. We want to have a right to do this. The Constitution did not give black folk any rights. And but the only person gave them some rights was Alexander Hamilton and George Mason. And here's what they say when Jefferson wrote the Constitution. They said, Jefferson, you write the Constitution because you have beautiful handwriting. You know how to use those flowery words like you did in the Bill of Rights and in the Constitution. And Hamilton and Mason said, but on the other hand, if you're going to play this game called democracy, where the majority will win and rule, and the minority will lose and suffer, there's one thing you must get clear, and don't ever forget it, that you cannot have any kind of a government where you have a majority rule and a minority loses, and you got the same people always being the minority and being the loser. You hear what I said? You cannot have a situation where you're gonna bring in all these millions of black folk and make them a minority and make them a constant loser where they always lose. He said, if you do that, you just undermine your democracy. And now that those minorities got the power, and say all the minority has to do then is say, now that you excluded me, you did not, because you shouldn't have done that. It is the majority's responsibility to take care of a minority in a majority-win society. Underline that, I'm gonna say it again. In a democracy such as ours, it is not black folks' responsibility to keep marching and demonstrating and following John Lewis and Martin Luther King and up and down the street, hollering, we shall overcome. It is the majority's responsibility to take care of the minority. And if they don't take care of the minority, then the minority has no responsibility, no obligation to abide by a damn thing that the majority says. That's in the Socialist Papers, number 5. You got me now? That Socialist Society paper went along with the Constitution, which says that you're going to have a democracy, that it's the majority's responsibility to take care of the minority. And if they fail to take care of the minority, then the minority are not obliged to do anything that the majority decides to do. You cannot pass a law and say, just stop at this stop sign because the majority says stop. And I said, but if I can't ever move, then I'm stuck here for life. They said, we don't care about that. And if that's the case, I'm not paying attention to any damn thing you say. I'm gonna drive right on through this sign and go take care of my business. That's what the minority is supposed to do based on the United States Constitution. And I've never heard one black nor one white articulate that in all my years in this society fighting for black folk, because I love black folk, and everybody's told me all around the world, Dr. Anderson, you're the only black besides Watson that sticks up for black folk and fight for black folk on every issue. And that I do. I love these black folk. Even though half of them might not be worth a damn, they still mine. And I'm gonna fight for them until I die. What it says though, it's the white folks' responsibility for voting. You tell white folk, you vote against us this kind of time, and we don't get any reparations, we don't have to do a damn thing you want to do. If Biden gets reelected again, blacks don't have to listen to Biden. They don't have to listen to Trump. They'll say we'll build our own community, as you've been preaching about powernomics. We'll build our own community, build our own stores, and use our wealth and power with our own people. And we use our money to take care of the second floor, which is the politicians. We'll buy every damn dumbass politician we can get our hands on and make him accountable to us. And I'm telling you, that's a secret that nobody knows. I'm giving it to you because I love you. You're one of the best friends I got in this world.
Well, vice versa, Dr. Anderson. Let me tell you, we love you too. And I hope everybody will tell Dr. Anderson how much you love him, because what he is doing for us is not just significant and important, but it's also it also is powerful, because I know that as every year goes by and when none of us are as young as we used to be, I always say that even in your 80s, you're sharper than most 40-year-olds that I know. We really appreciate you making that effort to come out and talk to us. And so I want to ask you one last thing then, since we were going to read from Powernomics, but I really think this has been a better conversation. So I hope that's okay. And of course, you're invited to come back to the book club every week. And I want to remind everybody, you can get Dr. Anderson's book, Powernomics, by going to powernomics.com. That's his website. So make sure you go, and if you don't have a copy yet, make sure you get it. We'll pick up reading the book next week. If you want to log into the book club and see access to the free life class I created for you guys, feel free to go to blackkeystogreatness.com. That's blackkeystogreatness.com. And Dr. Anderson, you're invited, of course, next week. I want to ask you this question. You mentioned something about our kids and education and training, right? So earlier you were talking about Abe Saperstein, who he wasn't raised to expect to be a basketball player. It seemed like Abe Saperstein, who created the Globetrotters, he was raised to be a businessman. Somebody taught him how to gather resources and create a business model around it and make more money, make more wealth for his family. Now the Harlem Globetrotters is probably $1 billion brand by now, I imagine, because everybody knows what it is. I think about our kids in terms of the public schools and their ability to compete. Whether you talk about the mindset of creating businesses by seeing the opportunities around them, and also all the way down to just having a skill or a trade that they can make money from, it seems like that's really lacking, even amongst a lot of our young people to go to college and stuff like that. What should parents think about when you're talking about giving your children the skills they need to survive and to do well, in a society where, where everybody else is just chasing jobs and hoping for the best and working for white companies? How do you train the kids to be a little bit different?
Well, first of all, let me tell you, black kids might not be the best educated kids, but they're not dumb. They're not stupid. They're very bright and creative people. And black folk right now got a good chance, and probably the last chance they're gonna ever have on this earth, to do something very quickly. I told them for about the last 50 years, the first thing they should have done in politics was a withdrawal from both the Republican Party and from the Democratic Party. Neither party has any interest in black folk. Neither one gonna do a damn thing for you. But then I got some public figures say, well, Dr. Anderson, well, we'll never win because the Republicans or the Democrats will already win. I don't care. Right now, the power would come to black folks, as I just told you, based on the crowd. All you gotta do is pull all these blacks. You got 47 million black folk in this country. You pull that whole 47 million into a black party, and then tell the nation we are going to vote as a solid block, solid block, and we're not voting for anything outside that block. We're going to vote strictly in black folks' interests, and win, lose, or draw. We're going to vote for black people only. We're not going to run any candidates. Don't run any candidates for office. You're going to say we're going to publicize the fact that we'll vote as a block, but we'll vote for whoever promises the most and delivers the most in terms of benefits, tangible, measurable benefits and resources to black folk. Don't tell us anything about what you're going to do for minorities and diversity and multicultural and all that other crap. Just you tell us what you're going to do for us. And if you ain't going to do a damn thing for us, we'll all be sitting at home. Y'all keep playing your games. In the meantime, we're going to start playing our games same way you are. We're going to start rebuilding our communities and building our own businesses. We can build our own businesses. These parents should be saying, what kind of businesses can my kids go into? There are all kinds of businesses they can go into. Black kids need, black people need the same exact thing that white folks need. See, if I ask you right now, what kind of what kind of shirt is that you got on right there? What is that? Is that a t-shirt or what?
This is the CEO brand. Actually, my friend Damon Dash created this brand, so it's actually a black-owned brand.
Okay, so what you would say is that what we're gonna do is we're gonna make our own t-shirts. We need t-shirts like white folk do, and right now, all black folk right now buying all these t-shirts like those, and for the rest of them, they are buying them from South Africa. They're buying them in big blocks and bringing them over here, just simply just simply lettering them and staining them, and selling them and making profits off of them. We will produce our own shirts, our own socks, our own underwear. We produce our own clothing. We can produce any business we want. As a matter of fact, I asked my wife to send you something. I'm gonna do this for you. This is like a Bible I put out for black folk in terms of businesses. Can you see that? I don't know if you can read it. Can you read it? Can you?
I can see it a little bit, but it's kind of up on the screen. I see industrial hemp business opportunities.
Okay. Can you see any of them on there?
No, I cannot.
Okay. Well, this is what I wrote for black folk. Here, I got over almost 2,000 businesses I could put black folk in tomorrow. That would be, and they would have no white competition, because all you got to do is buy your own products from your own people. And see, now we're break this up into different categories very quickly. I'm not gonna hold you up. Industrial and textile. I would teach. I'll have black folks. You know what I am raising hemp, the hemp plant, not for smoking. Tell Negroes to quit smoking because they're smoking their money away. This is, I'm showing you how to make businesses and industries and vertically integrate them. I want to see vertically integrated industries based on hemp. Hemp is a stalk, the herd from what not the flowering part you smoke, just the stalk, the stem, and grind it up. And I'll show you how to do that. You grind those stuff up, and guess what you can do then? You can make twine, like the old twine, you know, old ice string and stuff. Twine, clothes. I'm trying to. My eyes are going, baby. And all canvas and all kind of stuff, carpet and stuff. I got just under that alone, using that as an example.
Dr. Anderson, is there any way we could get that list? Maybe I can email it out to everybody.
I sent it to you already.
Oh, did you?
Send it to your office. Then you do the same thing over here. Paper. Right now, we got a paper shortage. We got a paper shortage in the country. We don't need no damn paper shortage. If black folk right now would quit chasing balls and singing and dancing and showing and twisting their butts on the stage, you can start paper. Start printing paper, making paper, cardboard, all this kind of stuff. They showed I got about 7 businesses under that. This is the same. All you're using is a grind up process stalk that hemp grows for marijuana. And I got it from here for that. I got it for everything from car from fixing cars and everything, steering wheels, everything. I got over 260-some-thousand industries that you can make tomorrow and vertically integrate them and put every Black in your damn community in a job. Every one of them, and making stuff that nobody else can make and will be making. And I'll show you how to process the stalks and also use them for making wood, logs, for fiber, and for insulation in houses, everything. I won't touch any of these things about sending a kid to school to get a law degree or to get this, or that's a waste of damn time. Go in wherever there's a gap in the market. It's just like walking down the sidewalk. You see a sidewalk, you see a line there, a break in there. Fill every damn gap with a Black business. You fill all the gaps. In every business, there's some gaps. If people are making TV sets, you make the little clamps that go in there. That's it. You got it. You got it, buddy. That's what I want you to do.
Mrs. Anderson set me straight. I was texting her to see if I can get that graphic for everybody. And what I'll do also is Chanel is in here, and Chanel, remind me to make sure I put that inside the book club materials. If you log in at blackkeystogreatness.com, you can get access to that. I'm gonna put this in there so everybody can grab a copy of it. Go ahead, Dr. Anderson.
Okay, and see, and all the way around, you look at that. You can and in the bathroom, you can make personal hygiene things like soap, shampoo, bath gels, cosmetics, food. You can do all kinds of things for food, seeds, and you can make apparel, wearing apparel out of it. Black folk used all the clothing they used to wear was made out of hemp fabric. The shoes that they wore, those sandals, those are made out of hemp. And all the paper, like the United States Constitution was written on hemp paper, and toilet paper, everything is there. You got it, my buddy. I want you to have it. You now said, I know what Anderson is talking about, and forget about it. We build our own communities, build our own businesses, put our people in those businesses, and hire your own people. And if you look on page 136 or 137 in the Powernomics book, what you're going to talk about, you see a list of things that you can just also do to be a competitive people. You don't have to kiss white people's ass to look for a job. Don't ask white folk for jobs. That's not their responsibility. It's our responsibility to hire jobs for our own people. It's our job to enrich our people. But to enrich them, we got to hire them and keep them in our own communities and pay them out of our own communities and respect them and love them and be with them. And we'll be a team in this country. Don't worry about running with a ball on somebody else's playground. Run with your own team. Okay? I think that's about time for me to get off. I love you, buddy. Take care.
You too, man. I don't know about everybody else, but I'm feeling pumped up after that conversation. That was good. Okay. Everybody, tell Dr. Anderson how much you love him, how much you appreciate him. Because I'm gonna tell you, I don't know you, Dr. Anderson. May I ask, what is your age right now?
Huh?
What is your approximate age right now?
I'm heading towards the 90 mark now.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, to be almost 90 and have that level of energy and to be able to inject that enthusiasm, only you and Farrakhan have that, and so I honor you for that. And I appreciate you, and I know everybody else does. And so next week you're invited to come back anytime you want to. And thank you for this wealth of knowledge, and we appreciate it very much.
Well, do us a favor to protect the Powernomics Corporation. Do anything you can to tell them to buy those books now for the new year coming up, for Black History Month, and tell them they gotta help push Powernomics and the company by buying those book packs, buy the $100 book packs and get all 5 of the books. It'll explain anything they want to know about race in America is in those books. Whites don't know it. Whites don't know any Black history. They don't understand Black history. They don't even know white history. But you tell them that you get those 5 books, you can do it all and make my people some outstanding people and make them put a lie to what Malcolm said once. And when I loved Malcolm and say we disagree with him. But Malcolm said, if you ever want to keep a secret, put it in a book because a Black person will never find it. That's a tale. And I'm gonna say Boyce Watkins made sure that every Black he ever dealt with had in it a Black library called the Library Pack. in their home and in their school, and make these schools start putting these Black books on the shelves in the libraries and in the classroom. And I love them. Take care now.
You too, Dr. Anderson. And I'll follow up with that statement and let everybody know Dr. Anderson doesn't need more fans. Fans are okay. But really, I would like for you all to not just be fans of Dr. Anderson, but my goal is not to be a fan. My goal is to be a soldier. Right. He needs more soldiers, a few good men, a few good women. That means understanding your power to accelerate this message. If you agree with this message, then take it upon yourself. We're not here to teach any students. We are here to teach the teachers. If you are a parent, you are a teacher. If you have any influence in anybody that you influence around you, you're a teacher. You can, so carry that with you, that energy with you. So if for those of you that are blessed financially, that have some extra money, I encourage you, if you already own the books, buy some more. Buy a bunch and just give them away. Give them away to people that that come in and misguided young people. So that's what I want us to embody and embrace, is the fact that we can play a role in this. You don't have to just sit back and clap and hope for the best. The Powernomics Corporation will do well if we make sure it does well. So let's make sure it does well. And anything you can do, Boyce, just say, look, we got to have these books in every home and in every Black school. That is otherwise there's no way we're going to survive. There are no other books written like these books to explain all this stuff to them. You can buy any book you want that whites write about Benjamin Franklin and George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. That ain't gonna do a damn thing for Black folk. But this will tell them what the problems are, the solutions are, and tell them, every one of those students, that please go out there and buy these books and order them off the powernomics.com line for $100. They get all 5 books. And they answer all the questions they need to know to be scholars in Black history. Ask them to do it and tell them that's very important for me, because otherwise I'm not on anybody's payroll. I don't take money from any of these people out here. Only little money I get is once in a while when I'm walking down the street and I see something shining, I'll pick it up. So, well, you know what? Don't you worry about that, Dr. Anderson. The community has your back. So the same way the Jewish community supports their leaders and Arab community support their people and et cetera, we support our own. We don't need nobody's help. And I can tell you 100%, I'll say it publicly, the Black Business School has your back to all the way from, to all of our graves and beyond. So God bless you, Dr. Anderson. Thank you very much, buddy. It's always great to see you.
Well, thanks to you, and tell your students, I'm still trying to get enough skills left in my hands to be able to write a lead into your in your academy and in the curriculum, and I have not forgotten that. Just that I have so many ailments, I can't do the things I used to be able to do. So please forgive me for that.
Well, you could also try that. They got voice to text, where maybe you could just dictate it. If you just record something, I can get a transcript for you. So have Mrs. Anderson ask me about it. I'll be happy to set that up for you.
Well, I'm gonna be looking to see you anyway down here at my house too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can't wait to see you.
Well, okay.
All right. Well, everybody, it was great to see y'all, and everybody say thank you to Dr. Anderson, please. And thank you all for hanging out with us. If you want to see the other material in the book club, just go to watkisn.com, and we will see you all next week. And have a good night, everybody.
Well, thank you all, and push the book.